Alright, so in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to lower the action on a violin that has really high action. Typically these cheap violins have really high bridges, which make the action really high. Now, you kind of have to do this by ear if you're trying to do it like in a reasonable amount of time, but you only need to lower the strings about 1 millimeter to get it to where it plays really good. So as you can see, what I've done is I've made a line where I'm going to lower the bridge to and marks to where I'm going to recut the string indentions so that they sit nice. All you need to do with this is either a sharp knife, or I've got my chisel. I've got a chisel and sandpaper that I'm just going to run the bridge on to cut it down. Some people use a knife, but I don't have a really good sharp knife to do that with. And just so you guys know, I kind of know what I'm talking about. This is the violin that I almost built. I never got around to finishing it. Here's the back to it. This is my back that I almost finished. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get down to that. So we've got this. We'll just take the bridge out. We have the bridge on this sandpaper, and we'll follow our lines and just run it back and forth, whichever way is smoothest, so it's not like shattering. And bridges are cheap, so if you take it down too far, you can just buy a new bridge for $2. You can buy a 10-pack of bridges for 20 bucks. And if it is too far down, you can save it and put it on a different violin that has a really low fingerboard. This one's just a little bit high, so I'm not taking it down all too much, and I've got to focus on keeping the original arc angle that I like and the separation of the strings so that my double stops are in good order. So I'm going to do it a little bit more. I'm not going to go quite to the line yet because I'm going to make a little indentation, and I'm going to test the strings. So I don't have to put an indentation in right now. I can just put it there and see where the strings, I'll place them. They're not tight, so we'll see where the strings would land for a nice fit. So there we go. That's there, and we're kind of getting somewhere. Yeah, I kind of like the way that looks. I might stop her right there. That'll be a real good violin for ease of shred. And that's what I'm gonna do. Let's check it out. So I like this position. And if you don't like your original mark of where you put your strings, you can barely make an indentation and the string will set on it. Just barely cut into it. You don't have to do much at all. I prefer to use needle files to do this, but I don't have any needle files with me. There we go. Get this new mark, and just a little bit more for these strings. You can also do this with a knife, as I mentioned earlier. Just cut a little bit into it. Now, this bridge is going to be pretty thick for a good sounding bridge, but that doesn't matter because this is my violin for practicing silently so I don't bother my roommate. And we'll see what she do. Need to take her down a little bit more. Very good, very gently. It's a little bit rough right now. I'll use fine sandpaper to smooth all these burrs and like little things sticking out after cutting into it. This chisel's not very sharp, or it's a gouge, not a chisel. What am I thinking? And if I mess up, I've got a spare bridge that I can do easily. I know how to sand down the feet for a real violin with an arched top, is to place the fine grit sandpaper on the body of the violin and run the bridge back and forth. So I'm going to demonstrate that with this one. If you have your violin, you take the sandpaper and you put rubber bands around it to hold it in place, and you run the bridge back and forth so it mates the bridge with the surface. And you can use a tiny square to keep it almost perfectly upright and straight, and that will mate the bridge to the top of the violin so that it has a nice perfect fit. Now we'll see what this do. I'm going to see if I messed it up a little bit. I'm going to see. Let me think. Does that look, that looks good to me. It's a little bit, needs to be a little bit closer there. Needs to be a little bit more like that, but then it'll give me some room. The G's a little bit over to the side, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Not for me, at least. Yeah. All right. And that's how you do it. If you take your time and do it gently, you won't mess up like I did. I need to like do a little fixing on this to get these two perfectly straight together. But you can just do it by eyeball and with just patience. A lot better than I demonstrated in this video. But that's it.